Hello, hello! Welcome to Paint Minis Live. I'm your host, Bill T. It's good to see you guys tonight. Everybody out there in the wonderful world of the internets. Tonight, we're going to be wrapping up the Wolfenstein project. At least what I have done. This game's got to get back to Brian over at Weird World War II. So we're going to try and speed through a couple extra minis that I have that are not quite complete, but they're pretty close to it. And we'll go ahead and maybe do some like touch-up stuff where we can. And yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do tonight. It's been like a long haul with this project, so you know that's definitely a thing. I had a lot of fun with it though. It's definitely a unique challenge trying to paint so many things that are like a with like a black paint scheme. So it was good. It was good overall. I wish I had more time with it. Like there were a couple of roadblocks that kind of popped up with life in the way that prevented a little bit of progress. But those things aside, I think with the quality of the models that I ended up with, I think Brian should be pretty happy with the paint work that was done here. Hopefully, anyways. So, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get our other camera on here and just kind of start trucking away. We have a couple of officers, a few leftover Space Marine guys that didn't get painted with the initial like push. And then we have who else? I think that's about all of the ones I'm going to be able to do. I might just prime some of them so that he can just get straight to painting them if he wants to. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to finish this up. What's going on, Wheeling Dragon? Good to see you. Good to see you. I totally forgot to put the stream up on Discord in case anybody in there was hoping to watch, but it's good to see you. It's good to see you. Good to be seen by you. Tonight's the last night of Wolfenstein, Wheeling Dragon. If you know, it's kind of weird saying goodbye to these projects as they leave the studio after working on them for so long. You kind of become like little friends in a way, you know? I'm just gonna give my palettes here a quick clean while I'm thinking about it, and then we'll get straight into painting here. I'm just gonna try and get done with some of the models that I have already primed and like kind of ready to go for paint. The other ones are still like their base material red color, so yeah. Well, very cool. Yeah, I'm sure you know that with your dice boxes and stuff. When you work really hard on it, and then it leaves the studio, and you kind of miss it. It's like a little friend left the studio. Let me get my other camera rolling here. Okay, cool. All right. I think we could probably. Yeah, that'll do it. So, we have the crazy doctor guy to get done. Our officer here, our general heartthrob is what I'm calling him. Let's see, maybe move you over a little bit here. There we go. Yeah, General Heartthrob here is looking very nice. I think he turned out very well. After his wash and kind of recolor to get some of that gray back in there. Still looks like a very dark uniform to me. His face came out pretty well, and so did his wonderful heart that he is clenching. It's fresh out of somebody. I mean, when this project is done, you know, I send it out, so it's kind of like it left the studio, you know. I guess that was kind of what I was referring to there, Miss Dragon. Yeah, we still have our mad scientist here to finish up. I did get some work done last night. I was on with Laz from Lazy Mini Painting, and Laz is just a total character. He's so much fun. But I was on with him, and that was a good time. I got some painting done on our mad scientist mini too. So I'm gonna get gloved up here. We'll get rocking and a rolling. I think up next after this we have some warriors on the table for the dungeon minister. Oh yeah, no, that not quite, but yeah. Okay, so I'll just give you kind of a preview. Here's one of the like flag bearers for the next project we're gonna be working on. We have a bunch of sculpts like this, so a ton of like fantasy men at arms here that we're gonna be doing up over the next little while. It's gonna be another larger project, but shouldn't be anything that we can't handle around here at PML. I've got them already ready to go on their little wooden bases, so that'll be a lot of fun. Let's take inventory real quick. I guess the most furthest along is probably going to be our mad scientist. This guy's basically done. I'm going to leave him. I'm going to set him aside. I think the bases are just going to go back to them gray, I think, because that's just what I have time for. I don't think I have time to do much else with them. But our doctor here needs some love and affection. Call him Dr. Feelgood, I guess. I'm so over winter. I hear ya. Winter is definitely quite a cold season, and I'm feeling the cold. All right. So what are we gonna do with this guy? It looks like. So I've already done all of like the kind of dark silver bits. It looks like he needs some more white on his coat there. We've got to do his skin tones. Maybe a little bit of some other colors for these vials. I'm thinking something like a yellow, like a bright yellow green for these like vial shooters he's got or whatever. So had a shed. The Dragoness shed? Would it be a she shed at that point, or? Sheds are fun. I like sheds. I'm down here in the basement. That's where I do all my work. Miss PML gets the rest of the house. I get the basement. She's happy about it that way. Okay. So we're going to start with a little bit of yellow-green for our vials, and then we'll use some bright yellow-green to kind of top it off and make them maybe look like they're bubbling. I think that's probably our best course of action here with our mad scientist. We'll probably need some white. Oop. Whoopity-whoop. We'll probably use some bright neutral gray for his apron, and then we'll go ahead and probably toss on some more some silver on the robot legs, maybe even some maybe we'll throw another color or two in here, probably brown for his boots or something. What's going on, Robert? Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Hope you've been well. Okay. So we've got ourselves yellow-green here. We're just going to base up our medical syringes with some type of experimental goo that this guy's been cooking up. Let's start with that. We just need a little drop will do us because we're not going too crazy here. Wet my brush a little bit. Very nice. Anybody have any news to share? Any cool experiences or been out gaming at all out of curiosity? Okay. This is a little thin, actually. Need to like a little more paint, a little more acrylic in there. There we are. Yeah, we've had mornings here that are definitely dipping into like the single digits, I think. This morning was definitely only like 10 degrees, I think, outside. So we're getting the winter weather finally here in Minnesota. This is going to be tricky trying to get back in here with his arm in the way. Ooh. All right. 4 degrees there. Holy man. Yeah, I heard that. The like kind of southerly blizzard that rolled through. It sounded pretty nuts, if you ask me. Try and sneak back here by his backpack. I'll probably end up just redoing that with some silver. There we go. Kansas City, Wichita got hammered. We're expecting more of the nasty white stuff on Thursday and Friday. Oy. All right. Well, make sure you're prepared, you know. Grab yourself some of the some nice warm clothes. Make sure you're stocked up on the hot cocoa. That would be my recommendation. If you've got a fireplace, make sure you grab some wood. At least that's always our stock up go-to. It's like soup and hot cocoa, firewood. That's the blizzard checklist here anyways. So we're starting to get Starting to get a couple colors in there. I don't think I want all of them to be green, but I want some of them to be green. We'll probably make like a blue one too out of this. Gonna throw a bright yellow green on the shaker while I'm thinking about it. Having General Tso's chicken. There you go. Wonton soup. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had tuna spread on toast. That was our dinner. It was good. But Miss PML really likes to make a lot of a lot of soups and stuff and like stew during the winter time. It's like her thing. She gets really excited about it. She's super into it. And I get kind of excited about it too. Not gonna lie. She makes like a really good like cheesy vegetable soup. I don't know how to describe that, but it's very good. Just a little bit should do us on that front. Right. So on this front now, I'm just gonna start I guess stippling on here and there. A little bit of this bright yellow green to give the illusion that there's maybe like little effervescent soda bubbles going on in there. Adds a little bit of texture and just some interesting little bits and bobs. I'm going to try and make it look just a little bit random, but sometimes at a small scale. It's all about just getting the point across. Very nice. Yeah, I had a good time with Laz over at Lazy Mini Painting last night. We had a good chat while he was doing he had a bear that he was like painting. Kind of looked like a comic book superhero bear, but he's going to use it as a giant robot dreadnought for Warhammer 40,000. I thought it was a really cool idea, and I was there with him painting for a couple hours at least. But man, is he a hoot! He's just hilarious. And he's a good guy too. Definitely a bit more adult, more of an adult themed show than I usually do here at PML. But his community is super open and welcoming, just like you guys. So I've got dark gray blue here. We're going to use that for another couple of these syringes. Don't really need a ton of this either, since we're just doing some of them. So I heard some news too that's a little bit, tabletop related, kind of nerd dumb news. My friend Loki says hi. Hello, Loki. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming to watch some PML. But I did hear some gaming news the other day too. Bandai Namco, the people who do like a lot of anime stuff, they're gonna be doing a Gundam tabletop game. It looks really similar to BattleTech. It's kind of funny. Like, it's a hex-based board, not really board game. Well, it kind of is a board game looking like piece, I guess. There's a lot of like tabletop games that are kind of going that route these days, but I thought it was super interesting that Bandai Namco was going to get finally into the tabletop space, because they've been producing models, or like, giving rights out to people who produce models for their like giant robot TV series, the Gundam series, for like a long time. And I was just wondering when the heck they were gonna like bring that to the tabletop, because it's definitely one of those things that I think a lot of people have been waiting for, but we'll see how it fares for them. They just announced it. There's very little information to go off of. There's not really any like rules so that you know like how it plays. It's just at the preliminary stages so far, but they're like 2-inch models in the Gundam range, so that's kind of interesting. And I'm not 100% sure I'm sold on it. Even as somebody that kind of knows this series, I'm not sure I'm 100% sold on it quite yet. Like, don't get me wrong, like the models look really cool. But there's something about like terrain and the having broken down buildings and just like homemade craft stuff that you put on the tabletop, and when you start doing hex based systems like that, in my mind anyways, it's kind of difficult to I guess make terrain for that, because you have to do it within the measurements of the hexes, and you'd have to be able to paint or somehow have the hexes already overlaid onto the building itself that you were making to kind of make the scenery. And that's like half the fun of tabletop gaming, is trying to make an immersive scene or like story out of what is essentially rigid static models. And that's kind of what you're trying to do. Board games are a little bit different. They're more objective-based, party-based things, but a lot of these games are kind of narrative-driven. And so that'd be my thing. And I think that's why this Wolfenstein game is pretty cool, because it comes with some, like, terrain pieces and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just use straight blue now. The blue in the Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl range is almost the same color as this glove, just a little bit darker. So it's a very kind of true blue. They don't really mess around on that front too much when it comes to their naming conventions on the like primary colors. So we're going to use that as our highlight because it's actually quite lustrous, I guess is the word I'm going to use. It's a very bright blue for being blue. And it doesn't have too many other colors in it, so we're just going to... make a couple of streaks on these guys. Gonna do the same bubbly effect on the blue syringe he's got in his other hand here. It's kind of just a texture game. Not really trying to paint it, just trying to get some extra texture on there. I think. Oh, let's maybe back you up a little bit. You're having trouble focusing. There we go. So yeah, he's working our way up there. I think we might actually need... I'm gonna actually just paint this blue. The dark, the gray blue really didn't do it for me here. When it comes to how light I thought this needed to be, so we're just gonna scratch that, and we'll come back with another color that's even brighter to make that really kind of stand out. Because the yellow green went way is like way lighter than the other green color. So she wore blue velvet. Nice. Robert, you been up to anything fun lately? Out of curiosity, anything new in life, or just cruising on down the road? Let's see here. Dark purple. I don't need purple. I need blue. Somebody find me some blue. That's turquoise. Don't need you. Got a lot of fun colors here, but I thought I had a light blue. It's like, yeah, sky blue. That'll work. Let's give that a shot. Well, thanks for coming and hanging out with me tonight while I'm painting here, everyone. Always appreciated and always welcome. It's good to see everybody and whatnot. What else do we got going on here? So... I think I'm probably going to be going for another couple hours here. I'm going to try my best to, like, get these... I've got 2 Space Marines, like, 2 Space Troopers, I guess, is what they're called, Space Troopers. We got 2 Space Troopers that I need to redo with the same color scheme. I think the officers are going to get essentially a PML-style speed paint run... Just because this board game, I've got to package up and be in the mail by, like, tomorrow or, like, Friday at the latest. So we've got sky blue here. This is definitely lighter than what we were using. The opacity to be kind of high, though, because I'm just putting little amounts here on our mini. Definitely wanting to give this some kind of effervescent feel to it. some little dots there will make it kind of look almost like a soda. I mean, it looks all right close up. It looks better further away, but that you guys are getting a super zoomed in view, but that's kind of the technique, is just some dots around a darker background. Kind of gives that idea of a little bit of effervescence to something. At least in my mind it does. Well, thanks, Wheeling Dragon. I appreciate that. I am flattered by your compliments. Just saw a comedy show with Jessie May Peluso. So kind of a bit of a dirty comic, huh? All right. I'll definitely have to look her up. All right. Oh, I forgot one of the syringes. Here we go. We'll have to paint that green and then the other color green. We should be good. We will come back to you when you are dry. And then, what else do we have to do on this guy? Have I seen her before? Let me see. Oh, I think I've seen... I think I've seen her in something. Was she on MTV? Yeah, Girl Code. Is that what that show is called? Girl Code? I don't know. I barely saw that, but I recognize the face. I didn't know she did a ton of stand-up comedy, though. I'm sure that's what she's known for. But yeah. I thought I recognized her. Okay. Let's see. How are we going to tackle the rest of you? Let's get bright neutral gray going in here. That'll do it. For the apron we have to finish. He needs something on his boots. We could probably throw a little bit of light silver on the syringes. Make them look cool. Okay, well, have a wonderful meal there, Wheeling Dragon. You and Loki have a good time. Just kind of filling in some of the places that the airbrush didn't quite reach with this guy's surgical apron. I thought surgical aprons would be white. And they were white. But I actually had to go look that up. I was like, what is a surgical apron? What is the color of it? I thought it would be blue, but it's not. So I'm going with this apron here. I'm gonna go light color first, and I'm just gonna miss the bits that I don't really. I'm gonna cover up the bits, I guess, that I don't mind being this really white color. I think these are actually straps for the robot. I don't know how much I'm gonna hit of those, but because I kind of want it to look like his apron's gonna go back over his chest, I guess, or over his shoulders, and then I'll come back with like a darker color. There we go. Let's see if the camera can kind of do its job here with the focusing end of this. He's such a crazy scientist that he won't even go into focus. All right. Yeah, we're just gonna kind of make it blend in, I suppose, with the rest of the sculpt here for now. Okay. We'll go ahead, now that I'm happy with that, we'll go ahead and grab some brown. We'll do up his boots and maybe the straps that he's got going on. And we'll switch out to silver. That should kind of finish this guy up, I would think. Heck, why don't we give him some bright blue gloves, because that's what I use here on the show, or like kind of examination gloves. Maybe start with the larger areas first and work my way around. I need a little bit more water. Gotta rinse my brush. In the wintertime, I am constantly rinsing this thing because of the lack of moisture in the air. Not only that, but your paint dries really, really fast. I think when I've tried to do things like wet blending, I actually have to add like a retarder agent to the paint in order to get it to stay in that very hydrated consistency you need for doing techniques like wet blending. Okay, that'll do it for his left hand, or his right hand, I guess? Yeah, because he's opposite me. There we go. Just trying to be careful of the places we've already painted. sometimes I get a little bit jealous of people who work with like oil paints, because they're really lucky in the fact that with oils they dry very, very slowly. So a lot of the times oil painters get a little bit of extra leeway with their paints. And you can go back and erase things by simply using a little bit of mineral spirits, and you can like wipe off that oil pigment off the model. I've done that before with stuff like streaking grime, where it makes stuff look really grody. It's like a mix of a couple of different oil products, and it looks fantastic, but it stinks to high heaven, and it's not my favorite to work with. Starting to pull back a little bit here. Let's see. What is going to help this camera like focus in on our mini here? There we go. Apparently it's just pulling back the focus a little bit. Again, I'm not worrying like too much about over coverage on some of this stuff, just because I've got a plan. I've got a plan for it all, and it'll still look quite nice when I'm done. So we'll get some get some silver going in here, maybe a little bit for some touch-ups, highlights. Gonna get that on the paint shaker. I think we need some brown too. These character models usually take quite a bit longer. I was able to get all the drones done the other night too. That was like six or seven, like 8 minis with these little drone guys, and they came out pretty well, I think. A little bit dark and foreboding. That's kind of what I wanted them to be. Maybe we'll throw some white on there too. I don't know. We'll see. We could definitely maybe do that real quick. Just put a little bit, do this. Do up these little markings on each one. I think this is like their kind of organization marking. Just taking the brush and getting a very lightly, you can swipe across raised edges like that. It makes your life really easy. You get very nice clean edges. I'm just rubbing the very kind of broad side of the brush towards the tip. Get nice clean lines. Super easy to do. Doesn't take a ton of practice. Just a little bit of practice with how much pressure to use, and you're off to the races. All right. Quick little extra detail on these drones before they head out to Brian over at Weird World War II. I think That adds a little bit of extra pizzazz to them, just a little bit. Nice. All right. Cool, cool. Now we've got our silver here. We can do some quick highlights on this guy. Probably end up doing some dry brushing too while I'm thinking about it. Okay. There's like a lot of metal on this dude, so we're gonna go ahead and definitely gonna want to do the tips of the syringes here. I think I should probably, yeah, I might just dry brush this. This is going to take too long if I try and edge highlight everything on here. I don't have that kind of time, unfortunately. All right, so I think for the dry brushing part of this, I'm going to use like a rounded dry brush. I just grabbed some cheap makeup brushes from, believe it or not, the grocery store was the place that had the best selection of makeup brushes for not that much money. So that's where I got my set of dry brushes. I know that they make, you know, ones that are designed for it, but I have not had the time or the cashola to go and invest me in some like pro grade dry brushes. And these work out like just fine. So I'm gonna take my makeup brush here and just kind of get it all over my glove here until the paint's almost all the way out of it. You want like very little amount of paint on there. And you want it to be kind of dry, just a little wet. And we can start kind of brightening up some of these areas here. Places that we can catch raised edges, we will. Also, the orientation of your dry brush too, and how you're like moving this back and forth across the model will change where that paint's being deposited onto. Just gonna try and stay away from these syringes that we've worked so hard on. Keep it moving back and forth. We'll get some pretty highlights out of this. Need just a little more paint and work it right into the fibers of the brush. A lot of people who use sponges. I haven't tried out that method yet, but probably something to do in the future here. Just very little pressure. You barely want to touch the model. Just looking to catch all these beautiful little raised edges that we can on our sculpt. I think one pass ought to do it. But yeah, we've just got, I think, this upper arm here is a pretty good example of, how to implement that technique. You can see where it's just deposited a small amount of paint on the raised edges and has left those other areas not has left them darker. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm muddling my way there a little bit. Yeah, so you can kind of see, anyways. It's a subtle technique, works well though when you're trying to just add in some detail quickly. All right. I'm just going to clean off my brush here real quick while I'm thinking about it so it can dry while I go on to the next step with this guy. Very nice. Okay. Next thing we can do is probably some brown for the straps. And maybe it's like boots. It's already white. Let's see. Use like use this dark golden brown. I'll put that on the paint shaker. Get those areas blocked in. While I still have this silver out, I'll go ahead and try and do up his tools here. His like weird dental tools he's got going on. He's a crazy mad scientist. You don't want to mess with this guy. He'll pull your teeth out. So again, we're just going to use that side of our brush here to deposit our silver right over the top, right on these raised edges, trying to miss the his like apron. There we go. He's got some nice, clean, shiny, sharp tools now. So that's worth it. We'll go ahead and move on to the brown for his straps and his boots. Because he's not a soldier, and only soldiers get black, shiny boots. At least from what I've seen in the Wolfenstein world. Everybody else gets, like, office loafers. We got 5 live chat lounge cats here at the here at Paint Minis Live tonight. Thanks for being with me, everybody. Much appreciated. All right, so go ahead and get a little bit of hydration here in this paint. We are. Now I'm just going to go around and try and pick out the straps that are really obvious. Do the one across his chest with his tools. A little more water here. Okay. So we've got some of this strappage down. Let's get a loafers, yeah. Doctor's loafers. Let's see if the camera will. We're just kind of blocking these in right now. I'll clean them up as we go along. But I may as well wait for that to dry just a little bit. Half the battle with painting is going back and forth between the color you just went for and then like the previous color, which you used earlier, so that you can kind of fix any little accidental mistakes. Sometimes it can take a while to get a very nice clean line. Go. That looks good to me. That'll do it. Let's see. We got. That was his strappage. We're looking at his loafers now, his doctor's penny loafers, because this guy likes to go into the surgery in style. What's going on, Calvadoni, the one and only? Hope you're doing well. No, I am not quite done yet. You should see, you missed the stream you were waiting for the other day, like 5, almost 6 hours worth of painting and chatting, I guess. There was some chatting involved. But yeah, 5 or 6 hours, I think, was that stream. I know you've been wanting a marathon painting session. So where was that? What was it? Bright Jade. Yeah, we're just kind of finishing up tonight. I think is going to be maybe our last night with Wolfenstein here in the studio, as it needs to get back to its home with Brian. Now he just needs, like, Sinister Smile and I think actually maybe a little extra silver. I forgot to do his, like, bone saw thing that he's got. Been busy. I did my first minis for the year. can't do more right away. I did see some of your minis on the showcase. The what was it? Dragon the giant snake thing. I'm not sure. I did see that one from your post a couple of days ago. I really liked that guy. That was very well done. And then Laz has got his bear in there too. So if you want to see what Laz was painting the other night while I was with him, you can go check out the PML Discord for anybody in the replay or whatnot. I'm glad to hear you've been painting though. Been making quite the sizable dent in your collection, I would hope, with all these minis that I've been seeing over there. Just getting some of the dark silver, light silver combo on this guy's bone saw here. I think that's what it is anyways. It looks like a bone saw to me. Or I guess what somebody would model as a bone saw. Who knows, we might even throw a little gore in there. Yeah, maybe not. Or maybe. I don't know. I'm so conflicted. To gore or not to gore? That is the question. Marathon painting session complete with a dinner and dessert. Yeah, right? Yeah, we'll maybe nix on the Gorze. I don't think I have time for that, unfortunately. I still have other minis I've got to do tonight. It's already 9:30, good lord. I was like, yeah, I can smash these out in a couple hours. 2 hours later. Why am I still working on this one guy? Try to get some edge highlights on here. I'm pretty sure this is off the camera, but it's very close on the edge there. There we are. Let's see, maybe we can even get this little nubule in the middle, the little axle. Cool. Cool, cool. I had to do it for my tastes, at least. We've got to do his face, too, and some hair. Oh, man. I don't know what color hair this guy's going to get. Probably white, like crazy doctors always have white hair, right? Or like mad scientists. At least get the white hair. So first things first, we're gonna use like a really dark color for his like initial base of flesh, because he's gonna go with a light skin tone. So we're gonna use dark flesh, and then we're gonna follow that up with like basically a much more vibrant like light skin tone, kind of creeping into pink, but we're going to water it down a little bit, and then we're going to throw some shade on top of that, and we'll end up with a color, with a dark color that'll show through, and even darker wash that'll hit the recesses, so it'll give a very good transition between tones in the places that we're looking for. And that's how I did, where is General Heartthrob? Oh yeah. So that's how I did the face here for General Heartthrob, and we can maybe get a good look at him. I think it turned out all right. We're gonna work on it some more. I have some more time, but he's got the old crackly grandpa face. That's what we kind of went for there. All right. Let's see, 7th. Now I got to count up the days. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So yeah, I still have some Wednesday I could potentially throw at this before it's got to go. Man, like down to the wire. So I've got dark flesh tone here. And I'm going to just start globbing basically all of this all over his face. It's kind of watered down, but it's intentional, since I want it to seep into the recesses. I don't mind if some of that gray is still exposed, but it's quite wet. I think this guy's got much of a neck. I'm not really going to worry about it, but yeah, we're going to probably do a couple passes with this really kind of watered down mix to get like a very dark shadow in those areas that I'm looking for, and then we'll start up on the next like cycle of his skin. All right, well that guy's drying. We'll come back to him in a little bit. We're gonna start on some of these other buggers. So we're gonna go with let's see if I can remember the mix here. Was it ivory? I think it was ivory. So I'm going to take ivory here. I think that's what I use. Let me just double check here. It looks about right. Right-ish, yeah. So this is our master model for the Space Troopers. I keep calling them Space Marines, but Space Troopers, anyways. If it will cooperate with me here. Get out of the shot, please. There we are. Yeah, so this is our master model for the Space Troopers. I wanted it to kind of look like those weathered, kind of space suits after they've been on the moon for a really long time. I think they turned out really well. But I'm essentially going to go ahead and do this over with the other two models that I accidentally missed while I was going through. But this is just essentially one layer of the original color, and then this ivory color, and then I took and basically did a null and oil wash and then dry brushed the same color right over it. So you end up with nice dark spots, but they still, any spots that are missed by the wash, you end up with color still there. So it looks like a nice finished, completed model. It's really good. Well, glad to hear you're back there, Wheeling Dragon. All right. We're moving on for a hot moment while one of our other minis dries. Actually, I might just go ahead and... That worked a lot better than I thought. You're still wet, though. All right. I don't know if you caught these guys, Cal, but they turned out really well. These flame troopers, or sorry, rocket troopers. These guys turned out really well. I did a technique called active washing on them with some army painter washes, and they definitely look really good. I think they're some of my better minis to date. So yeah, kind of cool. I almost wonder if you could get that same effect with the contrast paints. I don't know. All right, that should be well and truly mixed. I'm going to go ahead and get our airbrush ready to roll. Tonight we're going to be using our Infinity CR Plus, thanks to Miss PML for the upgrade. I've been loving the titanium innards on this thing. It's ever so lovely. Okay. Got that. We're going to get some flow improver here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. We're basing these models, so we might run through a little bit more than I originally planned, which is A-okay. I'd like 3 or 4 drops of paint to this. We should be ready to roll. Let's see here. We had 3 healthy drops. That's good enough for me. It's not a super science. It's just kind of done by feel, so... Grab my sponge here and bubble that mix right up. Should be good to go. All right. Where did our minis go? Here did our minis go. So we're just gonna get a nice second skin on our marine, or our trooper, our moon trooper. if I do leave behind some of that gray, I'm not going to be miffed about it. It's just going to add a little extra depth to our mini. I'm going to try and make sure that the top of him is nice and covered, though. Okay, cool. On to the next guy. Well, he dries. Just gonna make sure I get his helmet and like the top parts of this model as much as I can. Okay, we're still doing good on paint. All right. I watched the movie, I think, was it Painter? Paint. Yeah, Paint with, oh man, I forget the name of him, the actor, but kind of a funny movie about a guy who's like Bob Ross and has a falling out. It's the character's name is like Carl Nargle, and he's painting all these picturesque scenery-scapes, and then a new and upcoming painter bumps him out of his TV time slot, and he gets all angry about it. It's pretty funny. I was watching that the other day, and I was with Miss PML, and we had a good time. If you happen to have like, I think you could probably find it on Google where to get it, but if you have the time, Paint is a really funny comedy movie that you should definitely check out. What's going on? The Dungeon Minister. What's going on down Minnesota way? We're painting. We're wrapping up the Wolfenstein project. We're about to move on to some friendly faces for your players there, Dungeon Minister. After this gets in the mail Thursday. So I think I might actually have one more day to work with it. I'm not sure. I'm trying to budget a week for the post. But we're getting basically to the end of this project with the time that I have allowed for it. Hound and low, how are you doing? Yeah. Yeah, so that's what's been going on down here. How are you guys faring in Canada, Father Aaron? Well, I hope. Well and warm, I hope. Yeah. There we go. All right. So we have those guys can sit and just kind of chill for a hot minute. We can take our airbrush, put it back. We're gonna get our mad scientist guy going on here. Yeah. Yeah. I know we're still maybe a few months out from the warm weather, but I can't wait for spring. I really can't. Spring and fall, because fall is always another opportunity to go see up in Canada with Claricon. I have yet to watch. I don't know if I missed it or not, but I hope I haven't missed any press releases on the Claricon front. All right. So we've got kind of the undertone of our mad scientist here for his face. Now we've got to get him like some actual like face color. I think we're going to end up with warm flesh as kind of our final. So I'm going to put a drop of that in in the last of the kind of shadow flesh tone we have. Okay, I think I've had it with the video game music going on in the background here. I think we're gonna go find us maybe some of the old background music playlist. Yeah, there we go. Okay, all right, cool. There's the date then. Okay, cool. Nice. I did end up finding the article that was in the Halton Hills Times, or Halton Hills Today, I believe it was. I did end up finding that article. And I thought that was super fun to read about all of the goings on, and from the reporter's perspective. It was pretty fun. Hey, honestly, good to get those things squared away too. Those Christmas trees become a hazard at some point. All right, so for his face here, I'm going to get like a really wet mix of paint. I'm going to get almost all of it off the brush until I'm just seeing it kind of give way to being almost transparent. And then I'm going to actually start painting on it. I'm going to like start with his cheek areas here. Areas you would normally see like the light reflected from like the top of the nose, the forehead. He's kind of bald. The top of the head is going to be kind of a primary area to hit too. It's almost like washing a mini with paint. You got to do these faces in layers. They're quite the persnickety thing to do and do right. We're going to leave the eye sockets that color. Go back to his cheeks here. I mean, just very thin paint. We'll get his chin. His ears. And as I start to run out of paint, now I'm hitting areas that are on the face, I guess. Now I'm starting to hit areas that should be dark, but I want them to just have the very faintest amount of this pigment on there. Let's see if I can get you a nice close-up shot of our doctor after that. So we're still kind of working on it, but as you can see, we're working from dark to light here. Just trying to get... We're definitely going to focus on the top of his head too. Now basically it's just getting the paint to the places you need it to be. Owen Wilson. Thank you. Thank you, Robert Phillips. Owen Wilson. The movie Paint. Absolutely hilarious. I loved every minute of it. So now I'm getting a little bit less water here. We're going to go over just the top of his head here where he is bald. His eyebrows a little bit. And at the top of his nose. Try and graze his cheeks. And the bottom of his chinny chin. His lip too, his lower lips. It's all about contrast with the faces. Honestly, if you can get it down to the point where somebody thinks you've done a good job on a face from like a 6 inches away, you're pretty good. That's like, if you can get it to that point, the rest of your mini painting, you're basically, you've got it down pat. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I don't think I'll be streaming tomorrow. I have an informational meeting. There's a program here in we're just gonna throw that out there real quick. Let me just start over. There's a program here where I live for a paid internship as going through EMT school. that you can apply for. So I'm going to be going to one of those informational meetings and trying to get into that because it's actually a paid internship, and I could take a leave of absence from my job potentially, and go out and do that and get my certifications, kind of keep that education part going for the firefighting stuff. So I'm super pumped about that. What's going on, Thayan? D&Disability is in the house, everyone. I don't even do a good job on my face. Well, how did the exam go? Oh, well, I did not pass the exam. I tripped on, so like the first event is a stair climber for 3.5 minutes at, while you're weighing approximately 50 pounds that you've got on you above your body weight. And you're on that thing. It's at 60 beats a minute for 3.5 minutes. And I was down to the last 10 seconds. And the treads on my boot clipped the stair behind me. And I couldn't, my left leg couldn't recover. And I fell. And it's an automatic DQ. So I was definitely a little bit disheartened, to say the least. It took me a minute to kind of regain my composure after that one, but it was I was good though. I was good. It's okay. I will survive, and I'm gonna move on and keep doing it. So now I'm adding even more warm flesh to the mix for our crazy mad scientist face. And at this point, our mix should be almost like 100%, well, like 50% lighter than it was when I previously started. It's going to be really, really light now. I'm going to do the same technique. Just water it down, put it on the same places that I did before, and keep going a little bit lighter and lighter until I reach my kind of final color, and then we'll highlight with the straight warm flesh. Yeah, I know. Thanks for the encouragement there, Thay, and I do appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing all you guys this weekend too for some fun recording session. Looking forward to that. Okay, this actually needs like a lot more water than I thought. So again, I'm just getting almost all the paint off my brush before I go back to my piece here. Warm flesh, I call that a barbecue. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, for those of you just joining us, tonight we're wrapping up the Wolfenstein project. And so that we can move on to the good minister's army. I'm actually thinking this might be a good place to kind of... That doesn't look too unnatural. I'm not going to lie. I think that's probably the best face I've done of the lot so far. It's still drying, so it's a little bit transparent, but maybe a little bit under here. It's got to brighten up. Ooh. It's got to brighten up a little bit. Yeah, that's not half bad. I think that'll do it for me. But yeah, how's everything going with D&Disability? I know I've also seen a couple of releases too from the Dungeon Minister. I've seen one of them anyways. I haven't watched it yet, unfortunately. I've been busy. I've been ridiculously busy. Now we've got to do white hair. How did I do white hair last time? I think we're gonna like start with like a light gray and move on from there. Much appreciated there, Thayan. But you can do faces too, I'm sure. Anybody can do a face. Just kind of, you know, like, just pick your color and get it on the model. Like, doesn't have to be anything super special. As long as you thin your paint down, it'll be fine. Just make sure you add a little bit of water to it so that it's easy to paint on the model and, like, have at it. Because my saying is, like, you know, if you think it's good enough to be tabletop ready, then it's good enough. Because the prime objective is to have fun. And if you're not having fun painting, then then just don't paint. Or, you know, like, I guess that's not really a great thing to say. I guess, you know, what am I trying to really put out there with this? Like, you know, I think that anybody can learn to paint. Everybody can paint. I know some people don't enjoy it though. So, like, you know, if that's not your thing, doing faces, like, by all means. I don't blame you. They're ridiculously hard to pull off in any, like, believable sense at the scales these models are produced at. That's for sure. But I wouldn't discourage anybody from painting. Even if you don't like it, I think you should at least try it. Just try it and see if you find some zen in it. Okay, so we've got some gray on there. The Wanderer. Ooh, fun. Sounds like an NPC video. Wanted to paint over my break, but I haven't wanted to paint bad enough to actually do it. There you go. Okay, so we got... That guy is going to need a second to dry. So we're going to take you and put you, I guess, over here for now. We'll come back to our mad scientist here in a minute. We're going to work on our space trooper dudes. I have no idea what to call these guys anymore. I've just butchered their name over and over again. We got 6 live chat lounge cats up in here. Thanks for being here, everyone. Especially on a stream I didn't advertise on Discord or anything. The Paint Minis live crew comes out in force. The live chat lounge cats are hungry for some friskies. I don't know why that doesn't sound like it rolls off the tongue very well. I don't think it does, but... Alright, so in order to kind of give our minis some love and luster here, we're going to go ahead and use some Nuln Oil, some good old Nuln Oil from G-Dubs. This stuff does a great job at coffee staining models really well. So if you don't intend to wash your entire model in it, like, it's probably not worth doing. I think all models look pretty good with any kind of wash, so, like, I guess, you know, if that's what you're going to do, like, go ahead and do it, but I would just wash the whole thing so it's, like, uniform. But in this case, since, you know, I did them basically all white, I could have left some of the gray behind, but when you make it really, really dark with like essentially a black ink, it looks really wonderful when you come back with the same color right over it. And it gives it this super dusty kind of moonwalk look that you would expect somebody who's been like running through Martian regolith for an extended period of time would look like. So that is what we are going to do. To be honest, friskies and all that. Video dome with all the flesh talk. No, The Wanderer is an Anglo-Saxon poem. Oh, okay, gotcha. Very cool. Well, I'm looking to hear your eloquent poetry of The Wanderer on the next episode of D&Disability. Then, very nice. I do try and catch as much as I can from basically everybody, though. Like, so if I haven't seen it after it's released for a while, don't be offended. So we're just gonna do this guy up like all over the place. Oh boy, wait, hold on. Let me just look at these real quick. Make sure, did I use the brown wash or the... I did. That's okay. We're running with it. Use the... Oh yeah, really, watching everything would be a full-time job. Yeah. Was it this stuff that I was using? I'm just gonna check and make sure. This is one of those points in time where it's like, you know, check on a small portion of the model before you apply it. That's, holy man, I put on way too much there. Okay, yeah, we can fix this. Whoops. I used a brown on the other ones, and I didn't realize it. That's okay, we'll mix it in, everything will come out fine. Don't worry. Saved it. Kind of doing the good old dunk wash style here, right from the pot, right on the mini. Hey, what's going on, Charles? How's it going? Thanks for being here. We're painting up some Wolfenstein Moonmen, I guess. What are these? Space Troopers? I keep forgetting the name of them. This is for Wolfenstein, the board game. It was a project sent to us by Weird World War II, Brian, over there at Weird World War II. We're just getting these guys washed up for now before we go through and do a nice dry brush with the same color right through them to see how that works out for us. I think it'll work out just fine. All right. Let you set over there. Just make sure that that's the right color. Otherwise, I can just hit it with the airbrush, come back. It'll be A-okay. We're going to take a look at our, I think our mad scientist should be dry enough. Mein Fleisch, mein Fleisch. Yeah. Let's see how this guy's doing. His scrubs are looking definitely pretty dang good. I think his hair is the next kind of big thing to tackle. So I'm gonna grab out my like tiniest dry brush that I've got, and we're just gonna dry brush a little bit of white on the top of that, make him look dusted. Just gonna get the salt and pepper treatment from what is it, Rogaine? I don't think Rogaine does the hair dyes, but or Just for Men, is that what it's called? I can't remember. Let's see here. We don't need like a pure white. What we need is like, we could probably just use a little bit of the gray that's already there with some of this ivory and get away with it. We're doing hobo painting. We're just kind of using what's in front of us here as we mix it all together and see what happens with it. Just trying to lighten up this gray to the point that it would look like somebody like an older person's white hair, kind of. He's not going to be a silver fox, but definitely a aged man. You could do the same thing with this recipe for like a wizard or something. Just kind of take the same gray and lighten it up over and over again. Actually, that's going to need maybe even a little more. Surprised how dark that original gray really was. Yeah, that should be a good enough color mix to do what I need to with it. Alternatively, you could take the time and like edge highlight each one of these little like hairs on his head, but it's not really, I don't really have the time for that right now. We're just gonna get some, I'm gonna get some paint on my tiniest little dry brush here, and bring it on a little bit closer to me so it can work maybe kind of over here a bit. But I just lightened up that gray, and I'm gonna just brush it right off onto my glove here until there's almost no paint on the brush. Come back into our model here. Start just very light pressure. This one happens to be angled too, so it's a bit more comfortable to do. Just really light pressure, lots of passes, little passes. All right. Kind of starting to build up the color I'm looking for here. I think this guy's hair is starting to look pretty well. If I could get the camera to focus, that'd be great. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. We're getting on there. The time machine is starting to age a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I can deal with that. That looks pretty good to me. So we have still some of that darker gray underneath, some of the mid-tone gray, and now he's definitely got the old man look. So we're gonna call that model complete. I'll give my dry brush here a quick rinse, and we'll be off back to our Space Marine we just washed up. Well, he actually still needs dry time, it looks like. We'll probably end up doing the other guy too. So say, Charles, are you into mini painting too? I don't think I've seen Charles in here before. So it's nice to meet you. Let's see here. Get this guy out of the way. Say, Dungeon Minister has your boy been able to finish that hill giant that I left up there with him in Canada? Out of curiosity? I know. I think the last time I asked about it, they were still quite busy with their extracurriculars. All right. So what's next? Yeah. I might actually hold off on these Space Marine guys till I find out what that red does to them. Alright. We've got some officers here to paint too. A bunch of dudes in jackets with pistols going on. It's kind of the last of the batch, really, honestly. The rest of these came out quite well. So these are our last couple to go. I fell into minis and painting about 2 years ago. I was watching Not Jay's tabletop channel. I found Wily Games and realized I didn't need 1,000 figures to have a fun game. Nice. Well, I'm happy to see you here, and I'll definitely have to check out Jay's tabletop channel and Wily Games. Always like hearing about what other people are kind of finding out there. But yeah, very cool. Very cool. And if you'd like to share some of your work too, we've got a Discord channel. I'd love to see what you've painted over time. Dungeon Minister. No, it's this curriculars that keep him busy. Not a lot of time for extras. You did mention it the other day. Cool. All right. There is nothing wrong with being busy, though. All right. So these guys, they're gray already. Like what I did essentially with our other, I guess our general here, General Heartthrob, who is just plucked out a human heart and is wanting you to look at it for whatever reason. I think what we did with this guy was I did a gray dry brush underneath the and then I went ahead and did a black wash over his uniform. And that kind of sealed in the flavor, to which we did another gray dry brush over the top of it to kind of bring it back a bit. But it really did a good job at darkening the gray that's already there, because most of these guys essentially are they've just got black trench coats. So it's hard to go, like, unless if you're gonna like. You could start with black, but starting with a dark color and working your way up is a lot harder, especially with a brush, than it is like if you were going to go from like a mid-tone down and then back up to your like original light tone. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give these guys a quick dunk wash with some black here, and just to get those recesses even darker than what we originally would get. All right. Had about 30 Ral Partha figures for my century, and now I'm dabbling in 2mm, 6mm micro armor, 15s and 28s, a bunch of other stuff. Cool. Very cool. Ral Partha, man, that's a name that's a pretty legendary name. I hear that a lot with the Dungeons and Dragons crew that come around PML. I'm not 100%. Like I know he was a prolific like model sculptor for like fantasy and stuff like that. I just haven't done my due diligence and research on the guy. as much as I should anyways. So I'm just getting this guy washed up here. I don't really need to hit his head or his face, just kind of other bits of his armor, or not his armor, but his uniform here would probably be good. Just looking for this wash to settle in those recesses. Let's see if I can't get it any darker than it already is. Would be nice, wouldn't it? So we'll let you dry. I think our space troopers basically ready to go. All right. So I guess kind of the last little bit on him, we're just going to take and come back with our ivory color, kind of spacesuit, yellow off white. Do that. I've been mainly doing fantasy and medieval type humans. Very cool. Very cool. I had almost all Grenadier back in the day because that's what my local bookstore carried. Very cool. Grenadier. That was yeah, Bill Sylvie sent us his dragon. That was a Grenadier model. I recognize that. I've been painting kind of off and on for probably about the last 12 years. And I've had just like a lot of fun doing it. I stopped for a bit. I was pursuing some other stuff, but I got back into painting over the last, like, I don't know, maybe three-ish years. I think the last 2 I've been here on YouTube, like publicly painting, and that was just kind of to spread the good word of hobby, I suppose, to anybody and anybody who will listen. Anybody and everybody. I think it's a lot of fun. It's super zen for me, and I hope other people might find joy in it as well. So a little bit of that ivory, and then I'm going to take here on my gloved hand, I'm just going to rub that into the bristles, and we're going to get it all nice and saturated until almost all the paint's gone. That's some of the secret sauce, friends. Although white takes a little while to leave, as much as I would like it to leave behind. You could do this with like paper towel too. I just use my glove because it's quick for me. And now come back, and this is I'm doing a bit heavier of a dry brush than I would with other minis here. This still might be a little bit wet, but we're gonna just deal with it. Trying to catch those raised edges and like maybe even a bit more. So like again, this is a heavier dry brush. I want that stuff to go in the middle of it too. So yes, I want to catch the raised edges. I also want to catch like almost everything else too. I think I did do these guys in black. That's okay. I'll show off the technique, and then I can kind of redo this dude real quick. Not really a problem. Yeah, now that I'm looking at them, all the parts that were black are coming out a bit better than the red parts. He looks almost like a rusty Marine now. My mistake. My mistake. I usually take better like paint notes, but that's all right. Nothing the airbrush can't fix real quick. So we'll do that up with our other guy here, our other space trooper. 200 orcs. There you go. Yeah, I hear about the internet and so many options. That's how the piles of shame are built there, Dungeon Minister. The internet is to blame for a lot of that. Including some of my own. I have some pile of shame, like everyone else, but I've managed to keep mine in a relatively small amount of minis. So these guys, yeah, they're just gonna get a quick speed black wash on them. Same thing with the other guy. I'll go ahead and fire up the airbrush again to get him back into shape. Well, it's great to have you here there, Charles, and thanks for sharing your story with us. Always kind of interesting to hear where people kind of got their start with the hobby, what they've been doing, what they've done in the past, and just a little bit about them. So thanks for sharing. Much appreciated. Played D&D last century. In a hex encounter and war games. Gotcha. Cool. The D&D crowd has really pulled PML in, like, basically from the start. I think I did a couple episodes where I was painting Warhammer 40,000 stuff, and then all of a sudden it was like Dungeons and Dragons. Everybody came in from the Dungeons and Dragons side, and they were super hyped about it. So I just started doing Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and I've had a lot of fun with it. It's been a great time. I took on this project as just kind of one-off for a friend of a channel, and away we went. Dungeon Minister does recaps on D&D stuff. D&Disability likes to talk about educational topics in D&D, history and kind of some of the and some adaptive ways to play D&D. Kind of a very academic channel. I would put it that way. Highly entertaining though. And what else? And Wheeling Dragon is going to be starting something up too. But Wheeling Dragon also is super crafty and has sent us some super cool stuff like this dagger dice box where you can put all of your dice in there and just close it up and you can bring it to your game session, as well as these really cool handmade dice. Shout out again to the Wheeling Dragon if you're still in here. But yeah, hand created dice, hand painted too. It's super awesome. They're my favorite dice. And then the pouch of blessed dice from the Dungeon Minister himself. This is my little dice pouch with all of my blessed dice. They haven't failed me yet. They've been great dice ever since. Not saying that they haven't rolled low or against my favor, but I've always had a great time at the tabletop with my blessed dice and my good friends. Okay, where was I here? This guy needs to kind of get redone. I think that's where I was with that. You need to dry. Let's check up on our officer here. I think the wash actually maybe did darken that quite a bit. So I'll be happy with that. We can do some more of that in a minute. Literally, it's just the officers and these two Space Marines, and then this project is basically in the bag. Because that's all of the ones that I've primed. Tomorrow I'll come back down after my after the meeting I have, and I'll just kind of get all of the bases uniformed, and maybe I can do some stuff on the lettering. I've just got to figure out some way to mount them so that I can get their bases all like done. At least to the point where Brian can take over and really do them justice. Don't advertise that too much. People will think they're rigged. I play, then work and family, now retired, got back into the Hex encounter games. I played a bit of everything. I've got Root on my table to learn, and hopefully I'll get my family to play. All right, cool. Family game night's always fun. My pile of plastic, shame, and metal I hope to be able to get rid of by the end of the year. Hey, that's awesome. Well, yeah, definitely. If you're interested, we do have like a community Discord that I think it should be in the description. Hey, what's going on, Dean? Where's the money, Lebowski? I don't know. If you're looking for money, you got the wrong guy. But yeah, share what you do with us. I'd love to see how you paint and what you like to paint up. So this guy's gonna get redone real quick. He needs to get redone. Dean, I hope you're doing well. I don't think I've seen you in here before. If I have and I'm mistaken, let me know. But welcome, and I hope you're doing well. And on top of that, I was curious, what are you into the model painting hobby, or just like tabletop stuff in general? Like what brings you, good friend? Let's see. There we go. There's thinner. Not what I'm looking for. There we go. Flow improver. That's what I need. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So about 4 or 5 drops of flow improver in the airbrush color cup here, and then we're gonna add in our ivory. Another channel has a painter's challenge, usually in September. Somehow I staggered through 240 figures of 15 and 28 mil. Was that Mini Warmuts challenge by chance there, Charles? Oh, well, welcome, Dean. I'm happy that I've piqued your interest. This is kind of what you see on the tin is what you get here. It's model painting live. You know, this is like they're little miniature dudes, and I paint them up for like tabletop games. So things like Warhammer 40,000 with like their cool little Space Marine guys. If I can get the camera to focus here, I think it's this bottle is in the way. But yeah, the Space Marine guys from like Warhammer 40,000, I've done those guys up. This is currently a paint up of Wolfenstein, the board game, where we've got, these are part of the Wolfenstein series. So if you've ever played those video games or whatnot, but yeah, this is kind of what I do. I paint them up, and that's kind of my hobby. It's what I do, and I like to share it with the world. Hey, thanks, Charles. Much appreciated. But yeah, I know Mini Warmut usually has a painter's challenge sometime around there. I do enjoy Mini Warmut. He's a very nice guy. I actually gotta get with him at some point here. Okay, so we've got our paint here in our airbrush, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna spray on this this ivory, since I accidentally selected the wrong color here, and just kind of get our guy back to stock standard real quick. Everybody makes mistakes, so do I, and that's why the show's done live. You know, there's a lot of like YouTube painters and stuff out there that like to, you know, edit their stuff and show you just the glamour shots and kind of everything that went right in the process. And I'm here to show you all my mistakes so that if you like to paint and you want to paint, you can paint and learn from my mistakes too. That's okay. So we're just putting another, kind of second skin on them all over again, and we'll restart in just a couple of minutes when when that paint is dry on him, and we'll work on something else in the meantime. But yeah, sometimes I end up making a little whoopsie, and I got to go back and kind of cover it up. That's okay. The nice thing about an airbrush is it can get in all these cracks and crevices and all of the places really quickly and get you a nice back to square one. All right, cool. So we will let that guy rest, so to speak, over in the corner here. You get to go in the corner, Timmy. Oh, hey, thanks, Charles. Yeah, we do have, there's a hobby shop. If you happen to be interested, you can go ahead and take a look at our affiliates too. The PML affiliates here, you can take a screenshot or whatever of that, and you could take a picture of that with your phone or whatnot. That'll send you right to our affiliates page. Go ahead and enter the shop with that. If you find anything you want to pick up at any point, the affiliate program is out there to promote and help other content creators besides myself who are out promoting the hobby. And if you find any of them that you really enjoy watching, you can support them by just clicking on their icon. It'll send you to their YouTube page or wherever their social is, and you should be able to find their affiliate link in the description or somewhere in their video. They'll have it, and they get a very good percentage of the sale. I like to make sure that the affiliates, it's really well and truly worth their time, and it supports them in an impactful way. Need to get my knitting and dress up my page a bit. Okay, all right. I'm going to take that off. Sorry, I totally forgot about that. We have a shop in town called Dungeon Games that you can go play Warhammer and Dungeons and Dragons in. Very cool. Very cool. We had Dungeons End was our thing. That was my local shop growing up. Many a long night there. Many a long night I probably shouldn't have been there just because I had work early in the morning and I'd stay there till they had trusted customers that they would leave the lockup key with. So sometimes our games would run way into the evening. All right. So we've got our officers here. What happened to our other Space Marine? I'm sorry. I'm starting to lose track of my minis here. I think I put him. Where in the world did I put this guy? He literally ran off. This is some weird Indian in the cupboard stuff going on. Okay. All right. Here we are. So that guy's still a little bit wet. We're gonna maybe work on you in 5 more minutes. My stove has too many back burners. Yeah. So were you ever frequenting that shop there, Dean, out of curiosity? You might be spending too much time there, yeah. I wasn't the trusted customer because I was too young at that point. But they did do that style of thing. And I remember the guys who were the trusted customers there and got to lock up. I mean, I'd love to go back. The only problem is that that store closed. And it closed for good reasons too. The guy he basically was retiring. He was just old. And Like, so it was a successful shop. It was a successful business, and there's nothing, like, I guess better for a business than to be successful and then shut down because you're done doing business. Like, that's not a bad thing. Like, at all. I just moved into town, so I haven't been able to check it out yet. All right, cool, cool. Well, welcome to the club, Dean. We're just a bunch of nerds being nerds. That's what it is here. So what was the first time you heard the title Indian in the Cupboard? Tonight, out of curiosity, the Dungeon Minister. Okay. We're going back to the Greys here. Again, because these guys are wearing like all black. So we're gonna go with some oh, we have to wash them first, do we? I don't know. Let's try it out. Got a little bit of gray on my dry brush. I'm going to take my glove here, and I'm going to start wiping the paint off of this like cheap makeup brush onto my glove until there's almost no paint left on it. And then we're going to go back to the Mini, and it's going to deposit just a little bit of paint in all of like the raised recesses, or the raised areas of his jacket here. Very little pressure involved. We're just trying to pick up all of the raised areas we can on his uniform. Let's see here if I can get the camera to cooperate with me. Just come over here a little bit for my comfort. And we don't have to be... This will give us a nice quick highlight on his jacket. Again, just very short, like long strokes, light pressure. You end up with something that looks real pretty. And pretty easy to do too. It's not rocket appliances. It's just learning the right techniques and then putting it all kind of together. And if all else fails, like, you know, because I'm going vertical on his jacket here because I'm seeing like a lot of the places that I want to hit are going the opposite direction that I'm dry brushing. If all else fails, just go in big circles so you hit everything. That'll give you even more contrast on your minis if you're looking to paint them out there. That's just kind of a quick hot tip for you. Heck, we'll hit his gun too, may as well. You just kind of build up the color, or like the colors on him real quick here. We'll probably end up painting that silver though. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right. I'm gonna reload my dry brush again, and we'll go start hitting up our next mini in the series. I don't think I put enough paint on there, did I? Get some close-ups of these guys in a little bit. I think I need a little bit more paint, actually. I usually only do it like a drop at a time, just so I don't waste paint. Neutral gray, I think, was what I was working with. Yeah. Yeah, I used to love watching that movie, Indian in the Cupboard. It was like this movie where two little miniatures came to life like when a boy opens his cupboard. It's like this special cupboard he got, I think as a gift or something. I can't quite remember where he got the cupboard from, but then it's Owen Wilson is a cowboy, and or yeah, I think it's Owen Wilson who's a cowboy. I want to say. Uh, but yeah, and then there's the Native American and a cowboy, and they kind of work out their differences because we all kind of know the some of the history there, I would think. But they work out their differences throughout the movie. But every time the boy puts them in the cupboard, they come to life, and it freaked me out. After I watched it later on in life, because I was like, man, I've got all of these space marines just chilling downstairs, and I'm afraid that they're gonna think I'm Xenos for being a giant or something, and come after me because they don't like aliens, or I guess anybody that's different. So I should probably lock those up. Silly kid sense superstition there, but yeah. And all of the little 40K guys, the Chaos Space Marines, that I don't really want to think about what they would do to somebody. So just a simple dry brush here on our officers, just to get some cheap highlights out of it, because they're wearing black, and if you paint it black and they're wearing black, well, you can't really make much pizzazz out of that. The people aren't, when somebody looks at your mini, they're gonna go like, what? It's just all black. Well, the character art, they're all black, so it's tough to do a black paint job. So I tend to go with like a very dark gray and work my way up, and give the highlights the chance to speak, so to say, when it comes to those things. And that's worked out pretty well in the past for me. It still looks like they're wearing black. You're faking it, essentially. And like half of art is just knowing how to fake it. And hence, half of my life in the bedroom has been knowing how to fake it too. Moving on. But yeah, we're just getting some cheap highlights in here on our models. We'll go ahead and do some detail work on them too in a little bit here. We'll maybe even do another pass of dry brushing, but with a lighter color, and that should help us out. This is another good way, I guess, if you're doing like a statue or stonework. This would be another great way to get some good highlights for your next statue, or like stone golem or something like that. You could do this same kind of dark gray, neutral kind of mid-tone gray, and then a very light gray, or you could add a little bit of white to your mid-tone color. That would work out too. That'd be super easy to do. Okay. Let's see if I can get you. There we go. This camera in the focus, it does a pretty dang good job, but every once in a while it likes to kind of take its coffee break on me. Say, okay, I'm just happy to have the zoom around so you guys can see what's actually happening at a small scale. It's kind of tough to film. Let's take a gander of what these guys look like in kind of a micro sense here. You can see how there's just a little bit lighter gray on some of these areas that's showing up on the raised edges, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. We've got one more to do with this kind of mid-tone color, and then I'll get into the actual like super light color, and we can really get some highlights going in there. I did take a look at what the officers looked like from the sorry, painting off camera again. What the officers look like with the reference art from the video game, but they're literally on all black. Like there's very little other colors in their uniform, so it's kind of tough to get that back to its true video game-esque counterpart in all black. I know there's some painters out there that can really pull off like a object source lit scene where it's like, you know, somebody standing above magma or something. But I'm not quite there yet. I'm working my way there slowly but surely. That's probably what one would want to do with somebody wearing all black. Because that way you could use blue, I guess, as a contrasting color to your, you know, kind of magma scene. Or like if they were standing by fire or something. And you could really kind of tell a story with that. These guys are for the board game, so I'm not going to go that hard. I am going to make them look really nice, though, for our friend. Come on. There we go. I think maybe I got to tighten you up a little bit. The camera's sliding on me. There we go. Cool. So now there's our officers. They're not done yet, but that's just the first stage of the dry brush for them. I'm going to clean off this brush real quick, and then I'm going to let it dry out for a second, and we can kind of move on to doing the next stages here. I think we've got one Space Marine that's probably ready to go, or Space Trooper, sorry. Keep getting the name wrong. Okay. So for this guy, we're going to be going back to Ivory for our darkest Space Trooper here. And when we start to put this back over the black, it'll give us some very nice dark spots that'll make our mini look very nice, I think. Same thing as before. Put it all on, get some paint on your brush, basically get almost all of it off. Basic dry brushing technique. Super worth it. And all you got to do is sacrifice a cheap makeup brush. This you'll see really quick because I'm going from dark to very light very quickly. If I can get the camera to focus here, would be great. I think it wants to focus on this guy. Well, hey, I am happy to hear you're working on an edit for your video, because that just means I get to watch it at some point soon in the future. Always fun to watch some good stuff from the Dungeon Minister. coming back to my paint again to reload my brush. And too much paint. You kind of, once you get a whole, like, get this technique down, you can really kind of tell when you've got too much paint. It doesn't take much to overload a dry brush. But this is a little bit heavier dry brush. I'm not trying to pick out the details as much as I am trying to get a little bit of paint on the model and keep the dark areas dark and the light areas light. I'm fine with covering up some of them, but I want the majority of it to stay there. But this is kind of giving me that 1970s space movie vibe that I was hoping to achieve earlier when I started to try to remember the recipe I used for the other ones. So we're on the right path. I think I just chose the wrong wash color by accident on the first guy, which is all right. There we are. Now we're looking snazzy. All right. So let's get a good look at that. And there you have it. Kind of, I don't know, kind of Aliens. Reminds me of like kind of that very stark art style of like Aliens. What was his name? Geiger? I think the artist's name was Geiger. Outstanding artist, but he did something very similar, very dark contrasts in his art. And I always kind of liked that about his art. A little provocative too, but like, you know, they each their own. But I did like how just super stark it was. I think he used an airbrush a lot too, which was kind of interesting. He used like inks and airbrushes to great effect, but that was kind of the original look I was going for with the other guy. And I just chose the wrong color shade on that. So we're back to our Citadel Null and Oil, good and trusty. Dip Washerino for our other marine, which should be dry now. And there we go. Had a spill on aisle 1, friends. Boy. Let's get a quick little paper towel action going here before that gets out of hand. It's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of the Games Workshop pots, because if you accidentally knock that over, you're basically going to be out your $8 worth of paint, which is not my favorite. I think I lost about a third of that, but that's all right. I've had that pot for a little while now. Don't skin off my back too hard. Sitting at about 11 o'clock. I think I'll probably, I think I'm going to be able to get this guy probably washed. And I'm going to have a ton to do tomorrow too, if I'm going to get this this stuff out by like Wednesday. But I think it's at a manageable level now. I'm going to wash these guys and then go ahead and maybe chat for just a couple extra minutes and wrap up. Sorry for the When a dungeon minister, if you're still around, when you give Da Vinci a shot, let me know. I'm kind of considering that for doing some videos myself. I was asking about it the other night, and folks thought it would be kind of fun to have some videos on standby for when I'm not streaming, or you know, if I go on vacation or something, having some videos up. So I thought that was a good idea too. So I might end up having to figure out how to use a video editor myself. And let me know how your experience is with it if you do decide to go down that route. All right. So just kind of getting the initial pass off on this space trooper, moon trooper. Getting his wash on. Get him a nice bath of family-friendly fun. Okay. Just trying to run away on me. Missed a couple of spots here. Gotta fill those in. Cool. All right. Sweet beans. We have our marine washed. It'll eventually look like the other one. And that is what we will do. I'm going to go ahead and give our officers another quick dousing of gray. This time we're going to use a very bright white gray, bright neutral gray for their kind of final highlight pass. And then it'll just be down to faces next stream. Faces and boots. That's what I'm going to call it, faces and boots, because that's literally what needs to be done here is faces and boots. Thanks again for keeping me company, everyone. I always appreciate it. It's always nice to have somebody to talk to when you're painting and just kind of chat and hang out. It's quite nice. So thanks for being here. Still too much paint. Okay. Finally kind of down to the All right. Sounds good. Well, take care there, Dungeon Minister. Sleep well. And we will talk to you again soon. Or I'll catch you in your comment section. One of the two. Okay. Can I get in this highlight layer on our officers here? And we should be basically kind of done with them for the night after this step. Actually, I think I'm going to call it there. It is that late, isn't it? Let's say a lot of work done tonight. Getting very close to the end of this project. It's been a lot of fun. Got to meet some new friends and see all of the usual live chat lounge cats here in the studio tonight. So again, thank you all for joining me tonight. Let me go ahead and give you the salutations. But yeah, thanks again for joining me tonight. As I've painted through basically the last of the Wolfenstein box, as much as I've been able to get through for Brian. And we will see you again very soon. I'm going to be back on tomorrow, probably around the same time, 8 o'clock CST, for some more fun and shenanigans as we finish out just the last couple models. I mean, we're basically at the tail end of what I was able to get done before it had its deadline to go back. So come back again if you'd like to see some more cool model painting action, learn some tips, some tricks, and just generally nerd and geek out with me and the live chat lounge cats. Thanks for coming, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your morning, noon, or night. And if you're in the replay and you made it this far, thanks again for joining us for Paint Minis Live. I'm Bill T. Take care. We'll see you again real soon. Bye, everyone.